Hey, welcome. Happy afternoon. Welcome to Behind the Spotlight, where I bring you the best and the brightest friends of mine who really adding to the life of the digital business opportunity, a digital business owner. Today we have Mallika. Here she comes. Let's see, I'm going to bring her up. She's got a request to come on up. There she goes. Oop. As a moderator. There we go. The only thing with these Instagram lives is that sometimes it's hard to get the other person on if Instagram does not want to cooperate. There she comes. There she is.
It works.
Oh,
I never know if it's going to work.
sometimes I'm like, really? Can you just help me out today? I want to talk to Mallika all about branding and see what's going on in Maine with her. How are you today?
I'm so good. Is today your birthday?
It was yesterday.
Oh
It was
my
yesterday.
God. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. I actually got my birthday present this morning. I got a YSL fanny pack to like wear. I know, I love
Nice.
those. Yeah, I was so excited. I did a video about it this morning because I came down to my desk and it was just like on my desk. And he's like, "We're celebrating all week." It's the first birthday that my kids really aren't home. So he's just being extra soft with me, I think.
Well, it's good. He's a good husband. He knows he needs to treat you like the queen you are.
Yeah, no, he is. We actually went out for dinner last night to a restaurant that I'd been in the opening to in Newark, and it's beautiful. It's a very cool space. The food was so bad.
Oh
Like,
no.
and I'm not like this. You know me. Like, I don't send things back. I was like, she came over. She's like, "How is it?" I'm like, "I can't even
Oh
eat
my
this."
God. What kind of food was it?
Like Asian inspired. It was like ramen that I was having. It wasn't like, but I don't know what they did in the kitchen. It just wasn't good. They were great. They handled it really nicely. But tonight, I think we're gonna go somewhere else for
Yeah.
dinner.
Yeah, it's funny how it changes, right? When it's just you and your spouse, the kids aren't there. Like now, my party of five went to a party of
I know.
three. We just went on vacation, and it's like a different dynamic.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. I don't like it. You know what it is? It's like creating these new memories without the other ones, and they're creating memories without us, and that is kind of heartbreaking.
I just got the chills when you said that. Like literally
Girl.
got the chills. Because they are, because my older one is an Olympic weightlifter and he's flying right now to Ohio because he has his competition on Friday.
That's
And
exciting.
yeah, it's a national competition, but it's also the first one that I'm not going to be at. So it
Yeah,
feels a
that's
little
hard.
sticky.
Yeah, I
But,
know. Well, grown and flown, as they say.
I know, grown and flown. Okay, let's get down to brass tacks. Let's talk about business. I didn't get to introduce you to yet, but you are the brand and my brand CEO, an award-winning brand strategist, mentor, and speaker. I I actually don't think I knew how you worked in corporate advertising for like L'Oreal and Oil of Olay, two brands I actually still use. And now you help entrepreneurs get clear on their message, define their power, become sought experts. And what I love about your brand and your business is that people work with you over and over and over again.
Yes, I love that too because it makes my job easier because I've been with them for so long, and I'm so invested in them. But thank you for the opportunity to chat with you
Oh,
today here.
of course, of course. We are, for those that don't know, we are actually friends. We actually lived very close to each other and got to spend time with each other when you still did everything in person, when this wasn't even a thing yet. It won't age us, but for a while
Yes.
now. But talking about branding, I'm really curious for people that are listening that they're like, well, I have a brand, but they don't understand that it's about the brand work and up leveling your brand as you create the business. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so like some people say, "Oh, I have a brand," and they're talking about their
Right.
logo and they're talking about their colors, right? Where while that is important because I don't want to like piss off my web designer friends and brand designer friends, it's so much more than that. It is the story and the essence beyond the colors and the fonts and all of the pretty things. And those things aren't going to work well for you unless you have a sound, strong foundation. And so it's doing a lot of that inner work where you're asking yourselves those thought-provoking questions of, what do I stand for? What am I putting a stake in the ground for? What do I hate about my industry that I'm trying to change? How am I different
Mm-hmm.
than all of the other people that are in my competitive market? Who am I meant to work with. And you're not meant to work with everybody. You're meant to work with a certain specific target. And then lastly, a question that's going to help you build your brand, especially something that's sustainable over time, is, you know, what do I want to be known for in terms of the transformation and the results? Not the features and the functions, because we all know the same thing that everybody else is doing. We all have one-on-one calls. We all have a library of assets, right?
All the stuff.
But like, what is it that changed? How are we making a difference? How are we making people think differently? That's all part of your brand.
Of course, listening to you, I'm like, okay, what am I doing? Like, I know something that I haven't been doing a great job at is talking about how I'm a former TV producer and how I know. I know. Well, I was on a call with somebody. Actually, I did a talk for Lady B and Co. And Mariana, who's she's a video expert. She teaches you how to make personal brand videos for your company. She was like, I didn't know you were a former TV producer. I'm like, how did you not know? Like, you consume so much. Yeah, Susan said I didn't know that either.
So these are people in your immediate network. And again, part of your
red flag.
Yes, part of your branding, like step number one is what I call your brand resume, right? Writing everything down that you've done, personal, professional experiences, and then combing through it to see what will I leverage to help differentiate my brand now. And so why wouldn't you? You should be like megaphoning that.
I used to. I think I used to, and I kind of got away from it third and fourth quarter, because I went back and looked at my assets from this time last year, and it was a big piece of it. So you will see, if you pay attention next week, it's all former TV producer. Yeah. But besides the coming away from one of the biggest differentiators, what's like a big mistake that you see people making before they come to you?
Well, I see them jump into the expressions of their brand. They're jumping into developing the website. They're jumping into brand photography and hiring the copywriter, all kind of the sexy, fun, creative parts of building a business. And yet they have not asked themselves the thought-provoking questions to develop the soul of their brand. And so then they find out, after they've, you know, hired all of those people and they have all those assets, that then they're going to shift again. They're going to change again because they didn't have the foundation. And so the first thing you need to do is to really develop the story, the brand first. And then you can invest in all the other things. And you'll find that whenever you have those brand photos or the copywriting, it will take you for longer because you did the work up front. So many people skip that step and they go straight. Another big mistake is your brand is boring AF. It is vanilla, right? You have, not yours, but many people, because they want to play it safe.
Yeah.
They don't want to rock the boat. They want to appeal and please everyone. And I'm here to tell you, like, you don't want to appease and please everyone. You actually want to repel people. You actually want to piss people off in order to attract the right client. And so stop creating a generic, watered down brand and actually go in and like go into your passions, go into your perspective or point of view. Do you have thought leadership? Bake that into your business and it will help you differentiate.
It's so, I love what you're saying, because a friend of mine asked me to look at our landing page recently, and I read the whole thing, and my response to her was like, you're nowhere in this. I don't know anything about you. I think too often, and I made the same mistake, is that we just think our audience knows who we are, right? And we're not thinking from a cold perspective. If somebody just comes in now, what are they seeing, and how am I keeping them in the fold so that they understand? Even like, I don't drink coffee, right? It doesn't need to be something about my business. It could be something about me, or I have 2 pit bulls, or like whatever the thing is.
Right.
But I think that people want to be, right? We all want to be liked. So people look more into what we're doing. But I'm with you because I'm from Jersey, right? I don't want you to like me, right? I want you to either be in on me or out of me, but understanding who I am and what my differentiator is in the business. So, you know, I know you talk a lot about niche or niche, however you say it. You know, and people are scared of that. Do you get that information or that feedback a lot? Talk a little bit about why it's important.
It's very controversial. People like have like a real like visceral response. Like, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. How are you limiting me? I mean, it is a strategy. At the end of the day, it's your business, whatever you decide to do. But what I would say from my experience, from what I've learned after being an entrepreneur for over 2 decades, is we can't be all things to all people. We do not have the resources. We do not have the time. We don't have the energy to try to be a Jane of all trades and to deliver it well and efficiently and effectively. Instead of playing in this blue, the red ocean, where everybody, it's like a bloodbath and you're competing, right, and then people are then just only looking at price. What I'm saying is niche down, find your specialty, your area of expertise, own it, one lane.
Yep.
Find your audience, a specific audience, not a broad mainstream, but something more specific, and put a stake in the ground. Find what makes you different. Look at your testimonials. Ask your audience, your community, why did you choose me over someone else? Find your solution. Do you do things a different way? Are you a web designer that only does WordPress? Are you a copywriter that offers your services in a VIP one day, quick turnaround? What's your solution? And when you look at those 4 pieces and you put it together, that's your niche, that's your niche, that's what you can own in the marketplace, and that will help you stand out and that will help you grow your business faster. I mean, think about it. Like when you're at a networking event and, it makes me crazy. Someone stands up and she says, hi, my name is Mallika and I'm a branding person. I can help everyone and anyone to help them with their brand. Am I a web designer, a logo designer, a strategist? Am I, do I specialize in sales? Like it's too broad. Instead, I would say I'm, Mallika Malhotra, I'm the brand CEO. I work with female entrepreneurs who feel like invisible experts and I help them build their niche to become the go-to expert. Ooh. So instead I'm painting a picture, right?
Yeah.
That allows you to say, yes, I need that. Or actually, I'm going to remember her to refer her to someone else down the line because it's so specific that I know that I'll be able to send people her way.
It is. I think it's really important. I've been in those rooms too, and you're like, please, God. You know what actually I've been saying lately is like, I do a lot of really fun things. And people are like, really? What kind of fun things? And I was like, oh, like I just said that one day. Somebody said to me, you do a lot of fun things. And I was like, I'm going to try that. People ask me so many more questions when I say that instead.
Wow.
They're like, what does that mean, fun things?
Well, because they're curious, right? They're curious.
Right. If I teach people PR, they're like, well, that's not interesting, right? If I'm the founder of the FAME formula that helps support business owners in not only earning media, but making money from it, then people are like, oh, that's right. That's
Totally.
a big difference. But yes. And I think actually I was on a call before this with a woman that is creating a program for people who want to be speakers. And she said to me, what term do you identify with? Do you identify with digital creator or thought leader or small business owner? And I was like, if you say digital to me, then I know you're talking to me. Because I think too often people are like, right, I talk to experts. Well, what kind of experts?
Right. Yeah.
And what go ahead.
You need to be specific. Otherwise, if there's no context, it is a guessing game. And a confused mind never buys. So what we're trying to do is to make it crystal clear. And what I call a bullseye brand, which you have a bullseye in the middle that says, this is who I work with. This is how I help them. This is how I help them. Now, there are rings around the bullseye. So yes, you might be able to work with other people because that's the biggest question. How am I able to work with anyone else? Yes, it's up to you. But it allows you to focus and contain your energy and create a sustainable business rather than being all over the place, scattered, multiple messages for multiple audiences. And I'm so passionate about this because I've been there. I've had that business, the junk drawer business, and it's no fun. You don't feel good about yourself because you don't feel like a specialist. Your audience doesn't trust you because they see you're doing a million things, and it's not sustainable. You're on the road to burnout for sure.
No, but I know in your mastermind, you're really helping women come from that into really understanding what their niche is, why it's important, what their brand is. What are you seeing as the biggest transformation in your mastermind? It's called the Brand Breakthrough Mastermind, by the way. So if you're listening to my girl and you're like, you know what, I don't do any of that. I'm either like, Mallika, I think we need a one-on-one call. So I'll make sure that I'm doing the right thing. But what are you seeing? Like, what's the biggest transformations for people?
Yeah, I think it's the simplification and this permission that you don't have to do all the things and that you can actually lean into what you're already passionate about, what you're already good at, what you're already doing with most of your clients. Because it's not like you're picking your niche out of the air. It's all based on data. It's all
Yeah.
based on the intel of what you've already been doing. It's just a matter of committing and owning it rather than trying to appeal and appease everyone. So when I work with my clients and we look at the data and I can see it, but they can't because they're in the weeds, right? And they're under the stress of I want business, I need to help everyone, and how I can't get rid of that offer because what if somebody in 10 years comes to buy that, right?
Right.
Instead, we're simplifying, right? Maybe it's one audience, one problem, one solution, one area of expertise, one transformation. Maybe it's one offer. And then it's like this freedom. It's
Oh,
liberating.
100%.
It just makes marketing easier. It makes selling easier. It makes you rinse and repeat in that one area over and over so that you are a master at what you're doing. So I think with my clients, what I'm seeing as we're going through the process, and it is a process, that's why my program is 4 months long, you know, it's mindset, it's actual strategy, it's then messaging, it's then visibility, it's then the deliverable, and trying to hit all those pieces to kind of get you to becoming that go-to expert.
And it's so important to have that support. I think sometimes when we're starting out in business, we're like, well, I can figure it out from YouTube, and I can kind of like mash it together. But making that real investment in somebody who's actually going to look at your business is usually what my clients want as well. And I think when people get into programs that are about holding your hand, looking at your business, and not these big groups that you're just another number, there's a big difference in that. And do you see that there is a trend towards people working with business owners like us versus those big groups right now?
I mean, I hope so.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
am.
you and I have been in the business forever, and we obviously were friends, and we're also in our own
Yeah.
masterminds. We talk about these things all the time. We've been in those big programs where you feel like a number, and where you probably joined because of the face of the brand was who you thought you were going to work with.
Right.
And then little did you know there are all these other junior coaches who might be more at our level, and you're like, what did I just spend 5 or 6 figures in? And so those are the experiences that I've been through, that you've been through, that help kind of help us figure out the programs that we want to deliver, and make sure that people feel seen and heard, and there's a sense of belonging, and that they have access. Not that we don't have boundaries. We all need boundaries. We all
Totally.
need to empower our clients and not take responsibility for their results. But we also want to create containers where they feel like they can thrive. They have someone that is cheerleading them on, that's giving them strategies and shortcuts and sharing experience. And I've had that in some programs, and it's been a game changer. Instead of feeling like I'm number 51 on the hot seat and everyone is exhausted and no one's going to pay attention to my issue that at hand.
Right. For me, it's about growth. Like, I'm not going to grow in that program, but if I'm number 4 in the hot seat and you're like, Beth, you said that last week, like, let's move, right? Because I know part of what we both do is kind of push people outside their comfort zone.
Right.
Because you stay in there. And I think when you have those bigger programs and you're not looking for a thought leader who's an expert in their field, and you're looking for just to be a part of something, you're not going to move your business forward if you're not going to transform and move.
Right. You want to challenge your clients,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes they need to hear things that they don't want to hear. And
All the
that's
time.
our job as a coach and a mentor, is to help them think differently, so that they can take the proper action in their business.
Right.
And so to me, that work is done much easier in a smaller container.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And I have one signature offer. That's all I'm offering. When I went down to that, to not having all the things and being confusing, but also understanding exactly who I was talking to. And when I spoke just to that person in my copy, guess what? Those people showed up versus the people who can't pay me or don't show up or want to leave a program because they don't have time, or they didn't know what they were getting themselves into because they actually weren't the right people. Because
Right.
I'm hearing a lot from my clients, like, well, I filled my program, but only 6 people do anything. Like,
right.
Is it that you're bringing in the wrong people? Is it that the way that you're teaching them isn't getting people across? I think that that's a big question that people have in small groups, is like, how am I going to move together as a group? And that's something I think that we both do in ours. It's about moving everybody along so nobody gets left behind like they do in those big groups.
Right. And it's important. And that's why, like, I have found the mastermind format versus a group program where you might have modules or like linear type of curriculum is harder, because if few people fall off and they can't catch up, it changes the dynamic of the group. Whereas in a mastermind, why I'm so passionate about masterminds is people come to the table with what they need at that moment. So you get real answers to real problems in real time. And everyone can learn because it's a collective, and you have a mentor that's facilitating and offering her expertise. And so I think masterminds, in my experience doing them for the last 3 years, has been the way that people get faster results. They feel supported, they get community, they get all the good things.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of it is that accountability. It is having, creating the space, the safe space, and also having criteria before you let them come into the program to make sure that they're a good fit. Are you asking them the right questions to make sure that they're going to participate at the level that you want them to be in?
Right. Are you taught? So I talk to anyone who applies for my programs. I talk to them. I look online. I see who they are, because I want to create that right group. I know you do the same kind of thing too. You're like, you want to create a group that's going to work together, and that will challenge each other, and then that'll move. And that's why I think, so it just makes me think, because my launch is coming up next week. I'm starting with my stuff that's coming out for the Fame Lab next week. But now I'm like, I was calling it a mentorship. Maybe I need to call it a mastermind. So you gave me a lot to think about today as well.
What I call it is I have a mastermind where I offer personalized mentorship. Ooh. So you can borrow that.
We'll have to talk about it. So a mastermind that offers personal mentorship. I like that a lot. Okay, I'm going to go work on my landing page next. Anyway, talk to me a little bit more about the Brand Breakthrough Mastermind, and those that are watching, if they're interested, because you've all fallen in love with my friend Mallika right now. Talk a little bit about how they can sign up and what they'll glean from it.
Yes, thank you. So right now I'm in a session right now. It's a 4-month container. The next one happens in September. So a great way to, after summer, when you're ready to, crank it up again, back to school energy, we will work on your brand for the 4 months. But again, it is a small container. What we really try to do is to develop your brand, create a story that's sticky, that's sharp, so that you get to be seen as the go-to in your industry, and that you have all the assets that you need. Is it a framework? Is it your signature talk? Is it your signature offer? Have you defined your niche? Can we go even more, focused in your industry so that it's easy for people to find you? So messaging is a big thing. Visibility. Are you getting on podcasts? Yep. Are you speaking? Those are great. Are you networking? Those are great ways to build your brand. So, a lot of these things feel confusing. Like, what do I do first? What do I do second? And so in this container, because it's small, I can guide my clients with whatever they need in their season of business to that next best step, to create that momentum. So by the end of 4 months, they feel like their message is clear, they have the confidence to share it, and they have some of these assets that are going to help them attract new clients.
So if you've been listening to Mallika and understand that your brand is not where you want it to be, and she's your person, go follow her. All of her information will be in the caption. Mallika, once again, thank you for being on Behind the Spotlight. Thank you for always supporting me and being my friend. I love you.
Yes, I love you too. Thank you so much for having me here. It's been fun.
Thanks everyone for coming to another episode of Behind the Spotlight. Remember, you can go to my link in bio and download the 5 proven subject lines that'll get you booked on your next podcast. Mallika said visibility, you need it. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.
Bye. Bye.